One time I was video gaming and somebody I used to play with, he was a vet, like a veterinarian.
A veterinarian, yeah.
Yes, he and his wife both, and the very, very brilliant, beautiful couple. And I said, God, I would love to be. I've always wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah, you have.
Always.
You'd be so good at it because you don't get the ick like I do.
I can't work on limbs. I can work on a brain or a heart, no problem. But I couldn't work on limbs.
Okay.
It freaks me out a little bit.
All right.
Animals I could do easily. I would have loved to have gone to vet school. I think that would have been amazing. But I just can't do math. I cannot do math.
Same.
He goes, you can do it. You're smart. And I said, yeah, I know I'm smart. Thanks. But I can't. I'm math disabled. And it's because of the way I was educated. It has nothing to do with my brain not being able to do math. But I was never given any kind of real math education because when I was a kid, nobody was teaching girls how to math as much.
Yeah.
So
Well, now we have this whole Common Core thing, which is teaching you that.
Yes.
So you actually understand why you're multiplying, why you're dividing, which they did not teach us that way.
They didn't teach me anything. I remember when my teacher, it was a student teacher, and I think it was in second or third grade, and they pulled me in for recess, and they go, "We need to work on your math skills. You need to know your math facts." I'm like, all right, remember time tests and all that shit?
I do.
And I'm like, okay. He goes, what's this? I'm like, 5. He goes, no, it's 16. Okay, let's try this one. 27? No, it's 4. Okay. And then he put the math, he goes, go outside and play.
Yeah, he's like, you're a lost cause.
You're a lost cause. This was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, that's not
And I was reading at an 8th grade level.
Same.
Yeah,
so me and you were always very, very smart when it came to that stuff. And you loved history, and I did too, but you were always better at it than I was because I would get bored.
History. It's
yeah,
true.
You were interested in history, and that's why you did so much better at it.
I still am, but yeah, it's just...
But it was not my thing. I knew I had to do it, and I am good at retaining information, which is what you have to do in history.
You should parrot it back.
But I just didn't like it, yeah.
Well, it can get dry.
There was probably certain parts of history that I enjoyed, but there was a lot of it that I fucking hated.
Here's the thing about history.
Because it's so goddamn long ago. I'm like, who cares?
Well, because oh yes, you're right.
But no, but if you love history, then you're like, well, this is why you should care.
Here's the reason why history is so fascinating to me. You can go back to like the 1600s, and this is coming from a women's perspective, of course. They have been trying to push women down since about the 1700s.
Yeah.
And it's fucking England, by the way.
Right.
They're like, women have too much power. They're witches, all that crap.
Right.
And then all the European countries started burning women because they thought they're all witches. And I'm like, what the hell, England?
I know, huh?
They used to literally put like barbs on women's mouths if they got too mouthy.
Oh my God.
I would have been killed immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
They would have
think of all the women who ever achieved any kind of power. Most of the time it was because they inherited the power.
That was the only way.
It wasn't because they were, and
it was money.
It was their family. Either their father was a king or a pharaoh or somebody, and they ended up ultimately being in that, but they killed them. Yeah, they never lasted. They died in their 20s. They were like, we burned them at the stake.
Bitch, how dare you?
Her.
How dare you have an orgasm?
Definitely.
Like any kind of joy.
Right. So or smart women who actually made sense.
And they're still doing it.
Yeah, agreed.
They're still doing it. It's unbelievably I want women to take over this goddamn world.
I'm telling you.
And see what happens.
Well, here's what I hope. In my lifetime, I hope that someday women can achieve the tiniest bit of respect when it comes to our bodies.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And Western medicine.
Wouldn't it be great?
Like anesthetic when you're getting your cervix scraped.
Stephanie? 100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how is it that we are still fighting for these basic human rights?
It's just a pinch.
Right? I'm like, it's inside your body. It is an organ within you. Just because there's an orifice that has access to inside your body
doesn't mean it doesn't
make it any less. It's like, let me go ahead and scrape your liver. It's fine. It just hurts.
It's just a pinch.
You'll be a little sore tomorrow.
You'll be all right.
But fuck, we do this every fucking day.
It's unbelievable. Jesus. It is unbelievable.
It infuriates me.
And it gets worse. It feels like it gets worse.
It's just that people are just so incredibly insensitive to it. And we have, as women, like, we accept everything.
Yeah.
We're like...
What choice do we have?
Well, we don't have a choice, but I think collectively we could make a difference.
That's what I think.
But unfortunately, we have so many different backgrounds and age gaps and generational things that it's really hard to be one voice on the same thing.
I have full faith that someone will make that collective group happen.
I do too.
Or I don't know what it is, but
at least these women doctors, as they come up in their education and become professionals,
yes,
they even. I mean, I have some of the worst pap smears I've ever had were by women.
Absolutely.
And that really pisses me off.
I know. You would think they would understand. And they do. That's the thing.
Well, they do understand, but at the same time, they also want to be like, fucking suck it up.
Yeah, like, hey, I went through this.
Like, we all have been through it.
Exactly.
Like, why are you any special or different? You're just being a baby. And I'm like, oh, whatever. My God. Okay. How many men have to lay there, legs spread, with tears streaming down their face as they're doing something that's preventative healthcare?
None.
Ever.
Never.
I mean, they can't even get their fucking dicks clipped without it turning into a weeklong ordeal.
They get a Valium.
Eating chicken soup and, resting with ice on their balls.
But you produce a human and you get 6 weeks.
I know.
And they're like, are you ready to have sex yet?
Honestly.
I know.
Ugh, all right, I'm done with that rant.
All right.
I wonder if we should have like a variety of songs. So like week to week, we can like switch between 2 or 3.
I mean, like if we do...
Like this week it's this song, and then maybe the next show we do...
Next time we do...
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Do you know what I mean?
It around.
So we're not always doing the same song every single episode, but we have the same solid base.
Some people like sameness.
I do. I mean, I do too.
But you're right. We could change it up.
But yeah. You know who does that? Guy Fieri.
Oh.
On Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
It's different every time?
Not every time.
Oh, but he
goes between a couple of different... Sometimes he'll be like, next time on Triple D. And then sometimes he'll be like, on Diners, Drive-Ins. So he always says the same couple of things.
Yes, but it's never
But he switches it up.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I like it because you never know which one he's going to say.
Welcome to the Truth Ugly.
That's funny.
We're Gen Xing today, but...
Good.
Before.
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Oh, no, I totally love being a Gen
I'm not
Xer.
talking about you, other people, I'm surrounded by millennials at work.
Nobody fucks with Gen Xers.
Okay.
They don't.
But I feel like we get kind of, snickered at.
No, we don't.
No?
Boomers do. We are a small but mighty nation of generation. Nobody messes with us because they forget about us. If you ever notice, millennials have issue with boomers. They never include Gen Xers.
That's true.
Ever.
Well, I don't think they try to be inclusive of everybody.
No. What I mean is when they have any kind of
gripe or
what is the word I'm looking for? Any kind of, not societal, but any kind of generational war. Like this is your fault that we're like this. They always blame the boomers.
Well, we pretty much blame them for almost everything.
Well,
but
it is their fault.
I know.
It's their fault for everything. They took their money and left, and we're all struggling because of it.
Right.
They're like, I don't understand why you don't own a home and why you're living with your parents. You're 30 years old. I'm like, oh, I don't know, because when you were buying a house, they were $7,000.
Thank you. And not only that, but it's that is one aspect of it true. But they are the hardest people to talk rational sense to. As far
everything's
as
black and white.
I mean, and you can't, it is so frustrating living with someone who is a boomer.
Yeah.
Try to have a logical or rational conversation, like a forward-thinking conversation.
Oh no, don't even.
I used to feel this way when I was younger.
Yeah, I don't feel this way anymore.
And I don't now. And here's why.
You've been educated.
And I've grown. And yes, all of those things.
It's called life.
But they are still stuck in the fucking basement and and they have no logic.
And they don't care.
And they don't fucking care.
A lot of I remember our own mother once said this to me. She goes, you know what, whatever. I'll be dead soon. And you don't have to worry about my opinions anymore. And I'm like,
but doesn't it behoove...
I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to respond to that.
I know, seriously.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, what's so frustrating about it to me is like, why would you want to stay in that same old sick mentality?
Because
that fueled so many horrible things in this
world. The way
world.
I look at it is that it's either fear or it's like if I change my opinion, I feel vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like,
For me, it's such a freeing thing.
It's so freeing. Well, being educated is freeing.
I hate that I used to be certain ways when I was younger. For me, I definitely know I was a product of how I was raised.
Sure.
So once I saw the world how it really is and embraced it for all its wonderful things and changes and all of those, then I was like, I don't have to hold on to those old things, but but I'm not going to pay for it anymore either. Because I stopped being that person a long, long time ago.
Yeah, you're done. You're like, whatever penance you think I'm due.
And I'll always have regret.
Everybody has regrets about stuff they've done and said. But what I mean is that Yes.
But I'm very happy in the person that, and I continue to grow and expand. So when I have these conversations with my husband, it's infuriating to me. Yeah. Like I cannot.
It's hard. It's really hard.
So I can only imagine doing it with a stranger or somebody you're not related to or whatever.
So interestingly, millennials have their beef with boomers and they always forget. And it's so funny. I'll listen to them going, the generation before us, those boomers. And I'm like, I am happy that you have forgotten that we exist, frankly, because our parents forgot that we existed.
Right. True that.
It was the me phase because they were women.
The 80s.
Women were allowed to get divorced.
Yeah.
They no longer needed permission for anything. They
were get abortions.
Yes, abortion was legal.
You weren't stuck with like 12 fucking kids at home and no education.
And some horrible man
who cheated on you constantly and brought the money home.
Exactly. You could leave, you could actually make your way. Yeah. And so it was there has always been a discussion that a lot of women who are considered boomers, because obviously not all boomers are this way.
No,
but the women who really paved the way for women to have independence in the 60s and 70s, they were like, you will be amazed how many women actually didn't want children. Yeah. But they had no choice.
Well, it was what you did.
Because it was required of them societally.
And not only that, but there was so many other factors. Religion was still really big. You weren't allowed to, if you were a really good Catholic girl, you did not use birth control.
That's right.
Right? And your husband could get on top of you 25 times a week and you had nothing to say about it.
That's right. You're like, well, this is my life.
It's your life.
Yeah.
Right?
And then suddenly some women are like, actually, no. It's not.
Yeah, it's actually your body and your life.
And the government's going to let you decide. Yeah. And they did, and it was great. Yeah. Anyway, so we grew up in a time where latchkey kids was invented.
Yes.
We literally had yarn with our house key around our neck every day at school.
Keys hidden in pots and flower pots and underneath mats. And
what's funny is, we would come home from school and there were no rules.
No.
We could do whatever.
Well, we had rules.
Well, what I mean is
we were ruled by fear.
We had no parent saying
there was nobody going to sit there and force or tell you to do anything.
One of the things I remember, and I know now why, because there was no one home to guard or regulate the snacks. So we would come home and we would eat an entire box of Oreos, fruit roll-ups, chips, whatever.
God, I don't know what house you were in. We never had a fucking Oreo in our house.
I'm just making it
crazy.
I'm talking about whatever snack foods.
Other people, yeah.
Or whatever.
We had turkey and cans of tuna.
We lived in an ingredients house.
Yes.
Yes, which is very common.
There was never an Oreo, not that I know of.
Well,
unless they were hidden in your room under the bed or something.
No. But one of the reasons that we didn't have like Nilla wafers or whatever in our house.
Actually, I think that was the thing
we did have Nillas. Is that
they were
healthier-ish.
Yeah.
Basically graham
Ginger
crackers.
snaps.
Whatever. We had graham crackers.
We did have graham crackers.
But we would eat them all in one day.
Right.
And so, because we were deprived of sugar.
Right.
So mom would be
we had to eat grape nuts every morning.
So mom would be like,
Raisin Bran.
She's like, I'm not buying any snack foods. You guys eat them all in one sitting. And I'm like, because no one's home to tell us not to do it. Right. So we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
We're children.
Right?
I mean, what do you want to, we're going to whip out a bunch of carrots? Here, guys. No.
Right.
Not going to happen.
We didn't even have ranch dressing in our home. So if you were going to eat a carrot, you were eating a carrot.
It was salt and pepper. Yes. Salt mostly.
Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I know you hate it, but I think I remember Paula and I dipping it in.
Do you remember microwave nachos?
Absolutely.
That was
I'm pretty sure we did the same thing with like saltine crackers.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly. We did saltine crackers with like cheese on them and melted them in the oven or the microwave.
Oh yeah, to make them gooey.
Just whatever we could find that was.
Yeah, I remember.
Savory.
Well, we weren't really allowed to use the oven, but we did. Thank God for the invention of the microwave.
Well, when we got older, I can remember mom being like, "Put the chicken in. I want it done."
God,
I
know, domesticating her children.
Well, I mean, I do recall.
Do you want dinner? Then put it in the oven at 4:30.
I work 60 hours a week.
I know.
You guys don't do anything.
We're 12. I know.
Pull your weight, God damn it.
Basically,
she was
so.
God damn it.
Gen X. That's the Gen X. Anyway, so. The reason that I thought about this was I'm trying to get through. It's on Showtime. It's called George and Tammy.
Oh, okay.
And it's about George Jones and Tammy Wynette.
I think I got like 5 episodes. How many are there?
I think there's 6.
So, okay, no, I think I got 3 episodes in.
I've gone through 2.
And I forgot to keep watching because I binged them.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I binged them.
I watched 2 of them.
This was like a month ago.
Well, they came out like in January. It's been a while.
Okay, maybe, my timing is terrible.
It's fine.
I'm like, I remembered something yesterday and you're like, that was a year ago.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But I love Jessica Chastain. Sorry.
I do too.
I love Jessica Chastain and she's so gorgeous.
She is gorgeous and she's so good in this role.
And the guy that's playing George Jones is also good. And I can't think of his name right now.
But he's amazing. And he's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's very good. I'm sorry, I can't write, but he's also very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, their characteristics, I mean, they're really good. And I know, I used to love Tammy Wynette. I mean, she died, I think in the 80s or 90s.
She did that for a while.
And I think she died of she had some drug issues and
she did
health issues in general.
She did. She was of that era though, where you had to be perfect and you had to be thin. And
she had, I mean, based on what I saw, her family life was, I mean, awful.
Well, and her business life wasn't that much better.
Yeah, she was worth
used and abused.
She was worth less than $1 million when she died.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Unbelievable. And I mean, "Stand by Your Man" is an iconic song.
Stand by your man. I know.
Ding, ding, ding. George Jones treated her like garbage, but he was an alcoholic.
He was an alcoholic, but they were madly in love.
Madly in love. And he really took care of her in the beginning.
He did.
Before he started smacking her around. But I don't really know. I haven't gotten into that part yet.
Me either.
They're still in the honeymoon phase.
Oh no, I did get to that part. Because they do. Oh, I won't spoil it for you. But
it's not a spoiler.
They break up, and
of course.
But like I said, she has another guy. She was one of those women who never really wanted to be alone, no matter what was going on in her life.
No.
So sometimes she would be with someone she didn't necessarily love, but he was solid.
Yep. And she did that for there's rumors that she dated Burt Reynolds for a minute.
I think she probably did.
Yeah, in the late 70s.
There was a guy that she was dating. That was like her manager, who's somebody that was involved with her with her music life, and he just was terrible for her.
Yeah, they weren't even married a year.
No, and he used her.
Hardcore.
And, he was ugly and disgusting. And everyone's like, really?
And
because she was so beautiful. And
she's so beautiful. You know what I did find about her that I thought, kind of based on what we were talking about as far as women and independence, is that her mom helped her get her beauty license.
Oh, really?
And I think she's from Alabama. Her mom helped her get her beauty license because she always wanted to be able to take care of herself because her husbands were always terrible. And so until the day she died, she always renewed her cosmetology license.
Oh, good for her.
Until the day she died, she always said, because
you never know,
I may have to fall back on this one day.
Right.
Even as famous as she was, she never ever thought that it was okay to not have a backup plan. And I'm like, if that is not a Gen X or even some boomer women's mentality.
Well, because it was like
you can't rely on a man.
And the thought of going back to those archaic cave days,
it was terrifying.
We couldn't even know.
It was terrifying.
That could not happen ever.
Yes. And she never wanted, because she had her kids taken away from her at one point. Anyway, great show. I know it's
really good. It's on HBO, right? It's on Max.
Showtime.
Oh, Showtime. My bad.
Yeah, it's Showtime. Yeah. But it was just, it kind of, and then the next day you're like, yo, have you seen the popular baby names for this year?
Oh yeah, I got off on a little tangent because I was curious to know. A lot of times we talk about like, okay, these names that these young people come up with, you know what I mean? And
these young people.
Well, I know that makes me sound like 1,000 years old, but no, seriously, a lot of my friends who are younger at work are having kids. They're at that age to where they're starting to have their kids,
right?
And the names are always like, they're cute, but I just.
The way I look at it is this. Okay, so for example, the year that I was born, the top girl names was Tammy, shocking, how funny, Melissa, Angela, Amy, Michelle, Kimberly, Lisa, and Jennifer.
Yeah. By the way, the guy who plays George Jones is Michael Shannon.
God damn it. I knew him too.
Yeah. And he's in lots of stuff.
Yes, he is. So those were the top girl names. And the year you were born, the top girl names were.
By the way, he is 6'3".
Yeah. He's very tall.
He's huge. He's 48 years old. All right. Continue.
The top names for girls when you were born was Rebecca, Stephanie, Heather, Angela, Melissa, Lisa, Kimberly, Michelle, Amy, and Jennifer.
Now, when I read this article,
Jennifer's always number one. Isn't that interesting?
And Lisa's right up there too.
I know.
The the reason why this by the way came from the Social Security Administration.
Those two did too.
Yeah, isn't it the one I sent you?
I looked it up again today.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, the ones I sent you earlier when I was messing around with it, they came directly from Social Security.
Yeah, those lists those are. Yes.
Okay, yeah. And then I thought about it as I'm, thinking about growing up and being in elementary school, and like every one of my friends,
I have some when I'm reading
was one of those names.
I was reading the list, going, "Oh, I know her."
Yes,
yeah, I know them all
of them.
Yes. So now, tell me,
we are so trendy, aren't we?
I guess so. So these are the popular
except
names.
for you.
Yeah, well, that's because Dad wanted me to be a boy.
I mean, even Randy was on. I actually looked up because Randy was the name that Dad wanted to name you. Ugh. Funny story. But Mom was like, absolutely not. So
I'm not. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm glad she prevailed on that argument.
But yeah, so he's like, all right, fine, Jamie, and
they settled on Jamie.
They settled on Jamie.
But I think Mom had another name. Did you ever find out what it was? She never told me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
How did you get your name?
She said that I think you could have been me. Because she said that she always wanted a little girl named Stephanie.
That's so cute.
And so she might have wanted to name you that, but she couldn't. Dad's like, no,
it's a boy.
Exactly. So I think by the time they got to me, at that point, she's kind of like, yeah, you've already fucked me over a few times and you're lucky we're still married. So I'm naming this fucking kid. So she named me.
I know she named you and Paula for sure.
Yes.
I don't know about Allison.
I'm pretty sure she named all of us. I think you were the only one.
I was the standout.
Well, you were the first.
I know.
So yeah, it was kind of like,
so there was a tussle.
Yeah, there was a tussle. You were the first baby that they were having. And
thank God.
I think they were still extremely happily married at the time that they had you.
All I know is that I'm glad it's Jamie and not Randy. And
I think Randy's kind of cute, but yeah.
Well, for a girl, it is cute. You're right. Yeah. I do know a couple Randys that are my age.
But actually. I am glad. I can't imagine you being anything else, obviously.
Can you imagine? No. I can't imagine being Stephanie. That's weird.
Right? And I didn't even know Stephanie was such a popular name.
I love that name.
Until I looked on the list and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not even special. Fuck, I'm like fourth. Everybody was naming fucking kid Stephanie.
Honestly, if Mom had her way, Stephanie would have been rare for that age. For
True.
Because it's nowhere near my list.
True.
So
well, and Allison and Paula are very unusual. Those are very They are not common names.
No, they're not. So this year, the top names for girls is Lily, Luna, Mia, Sophia, Charlotte, Isabella, Ava, Amelia, Emma, Olivia. What's with the us?
I don't know.
All the us.
Yeah. I mean, and they're kind of older sounding names. Not all of them.
I know 3 girls with those names. 3 girls with those names.
We have a niece that's named Olivia.
Yes. And then I know a Lily and I know an Emma.
I also know a Lily.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting how they've changed. Here's the boy names are always more interesting though. Yeah. These are the boy names for this year.
More traditional.
Aiden. Okay. Asher.
Dumb.
Ethan, Leo, Lucas, Elijah, Mateo, Oliver, Noah, and Liam.
And I say no to every fucking one of those names.
I don't understand those names.
No. Are you serious? Mateo? Really? I'm sorry if your child's name's Mateo, but that's dumb and ugly.
It's very strange. Yeah, there's, and I've heard people say that before. They're like, where's all the strong names? Where's the Davids and the Johns and the Jasons?
Nick's a guy you can throw up in his car and he won't care.
Exactly. I don't know. I think our names in the old days are boring.
Some of them are very boring.
They're all Christopher, David, Robert,
totally,
James,
Mike, Mark.
No thanks.
Yeah, I got it.
Anyway, so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how all of us Gen Xers, it wasn't even that we got away with stuff. It was just that parenting is so different than when now.
Well, I mean, think of the difference. There's that whole, it's called a helicopter parent.
That did not exist.
That did not exist. I mean, that is such, I'm just saying like the total polar opposites.
Actually, I can think of, I can't remember names, but I do remember there was a sickly boy in my grade, and it wasn't Stuart. It was something like that though. And he was pale.
Oliver.
Yeah, he was pale. He was like a giant recessive gene.
Got it.
And his mom was
like, that's why they made movies like The Boy in the Bubble back then.
Right, exactly. And his mom was very protective.
Right.
So she was probably the OG helicopter parenting kind of style.
But we can understand why.
He wasn't allowed to do anything.
Yeah. Like he had severe allergies.
Like he had to sit on the bench at PE. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of kid.
We know him.
He wasn't sick. His mom
maybe she
refused.
had Munchausen by proxy.
Anything's possible, but he was obviously, he looked like a little runt of the litter, kind of human. Every grade has one.
Totally.
Everybody.
And you should see mine now. I mean, he is flourishing.
Your son?
No, my awkward guy that I went to school with.
You had a little recessive gene friend? We all do.
He was like, what's that movie where they're all powder?
He looked like powder?
Yes. Oh. And now it's funny because everybody who ever made fun of him, and maybe I just got it wrong. Like maybe he did have people that were like, yeah, he's weird, but he's cool.
Sure.
You go onto his Facebook and he's literally friends with like 65 people that went to school with us. And I'm like, you guys were all mean to him. And now you're all Facebook friends?
That's funny.
Whatever.
I know. It's like, were you secretly friends with him?
Yeah. No, I think now it's just cool. It's like, we beat the shit out of this kid in the bathroom 35 times and he still smiled every day. So now we like him.
God, what? You know what? That is so true. No, I was thinking of some of the things that we got to do that we would never do to our children. For starters, our mom used to lock us out of the house. Literally would lock the doors.
And we're not alone, by the way, because I have talked about this with other
This is why I'm saying this is a Gen X thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But our
that's why we peed outside. We had to.
That's what I'm saying.
We weren't even allowed to come in and use the restroom.
Our mom would make us. We would watch our cartoons
early.
Get up, get dressed,
eat,
go outside, and then she'd lock the sliding glass door. Yeah. We're like, Mom, we want to come in. No, I am cleaning. Stay outside. Mom, we're thirsty. There's a hose.
And then around noon, after you'd been outside for literally like 4 hours,
peanut butter and jelly.
She'd come out with a tray of Kool-Aid and peanut butter and jelly. Or I don't know if we were actually allowed Kool-Aid, but
no, we had Kool-Aid.
I'm pretty sure we did.
We had grape Kool-Aid for sure.
Or fruit punch, tropical punch. Yeah.
She would cut the sugar in half, but we'd have it.
Right. That's why we hated it.
God,
it was awful.
And then you and I, shockingly, were peeing and pooping on the side of the house.
We dug holes.
We couldn't go inside, and our fucking dad found us. He's like, "What are you guys doing out here?"
What's the chances that the timing that Dad would come home
while we're
precisely that moment when we're lined up like a trough with little holes?
Peeing.
And he laughed.
He was hysterical.
He thought it was funny.
He's like, "What are you doing?" We're like, we start crying because we think we're going to be beaten.
Mom was like, all right.
You can come in. It's the sun is setting, Mom. We're tired.
We were like barefoot and dirty and half naked. And
she probably forgot that we were out there.
She was just like, God, when do I have to let them in?
Oh my God. I mean, seriously, all the time. Oh my God, all the time. Do you remember we lived behind an easement? And we would go.
We lived in I like to call it a green belt.
Yeah, okay, a little green belt. And we would regularly go back there.
Right.
And wander for
poopy pants
forever. And we found a pair of green jeans that had poop, we think, on them.
It was mud.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We said it was
It was in the creek. I mean.
Yeah.
But it looked like poopy pants.
Can you imagine the kind of insane people and killers that might have been
Jamie,
back there?
we lived in trees. We were feral. We were in the trees.
Do you remember that? We were. Do you remember that time
singing
that I lifted a pizza box?
Swiss Family Robinson.
And there was a nest of baby rattlesnakes.
Oh God, yes, I do recall.
And
that.
we didn't get bitten. Isn't
Shockingly,
that shocking?
Where was the mother?
God only knows.
Around the corner looking for food, and we just got lucky. I don't know.
Snakes don't feed their young.
They don't.
No. When they hatch, they're on their own.
Oh, that's just it, huh?
Yeah, I believe
they're
so.
eggs.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Bye, guys." Know. Well, Gen X, the Gen X snakes.
Right.
But anyway, we did sit in the trees and sing. We were in
the trees. We would sing. We would just play games.
God, constantly. We were never in the house.
No, we were never in the house. God,
can you imagine doing that to your son?
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? It's 100 out, Mom. We're hot. Suck it up.
Get the hose.
Get the hose and rinse off if you're so hot.
That was it.
The only time that Mom ever cared was when I stepped on a nail.
True.
And I was afraid to tell her.
And that was because she was probably like, oh, shit, her foot might fall off and then they'll do something to me.
She's going to get some freaking thing and I'm going to have to take care of her for the rest of my life.
So I better deal with this.
Take her to the doctor.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about this on the show once before, but this was during that same time period where Mom was actually starting to become independent. Her and Dad were getting divorced.
Yes.
She was selling houses in our neighborhood, but we still lived in our house.
Right.
And we would go and water the grass for her in the summer.
Right.
You and I.
We'd go water the houses that were for sale.
This was not far. I mean, we're talking like 5 houses down.
But we had to cross a busy
But we did
street.
have to cross the street, and we did it on our bikes because the ground was like scorching. It was like 110 outside.
Yeah, it was 100 degrees all the time.
Yeah, we never had shoes on, apparently.
Ever?
So,
oh my God.
Ever. So, yeah, but I ended up getting my foot stuck in the spokes, and it was this huge gash, and we made it home. And I don't know why, but it was one of the very rare occasions where Dad's family was visiting.
Yes.
That never happens.
No,
but
he hated them coming over.
He did hate them, and
it was almost like he was required to do it once a year.
And I don't know why Mom wasn't there. I think she went to the grocery store or something.
Probably getting food for some
She
meal.
rarely left, and when she did, we usually were with her. But for whatever reason, she wasn't there. So I can't remember if it was my aunt or my auntie or my grandma or both.
Someone decided to clean it.
Put my foot in a giant pot of salt water.
Why?
With an open wound?
What?
I think they did it for fun. I don't know. No, I don't know. Because it was just an old school Mexican, like, hey, we got to clean it out.
Sanitize it.
Get the germs out.
We have to clean it.
But yeah, so I'm like, why must I be subject to these torturous?
Oh, please. I was thinking about that. And first of all, our parents, we had a really nice built-in pool.
We did.
When we were growing
up. That
up.
house was amazing.
It was a beautiful home before our parents blew up. But we had
to this day, it's probably worth close to $1 million now. But
yeah, maybe. So anyway, I was thinking about, God, we had, first of all, there were no such thing as pool gates. Nobody gated their pools.
No.
You just better hope you swim or you'll drown, and we'll just make another one, But our parents used to let us swim in pitch black alone with no adult in the backyard supervision.
Well, we watched each other. Honestly.
Yeah, well, yes. Do you remember the time that Allison was in the spa with us and she was drowning?
Were we drowning her? Or she was drowning on her own?
She was drowning on her own. All I know is,
well, and
I'm not laughing.
Do the math, because Allison would have been very young.
Oh, she was like 3.
Yeah,
she was very little.
So it's not like she was 10.
No. We were. I think I was not 8, 9.
Right, yeah,
we were very young,
and I was like 6.
You were 6, which means she was probably 4 or 5.
Right. So she was little.
She was very small. And Paula wasn't. She didn't exist
Paula
yet.
was probably mom was,
or she was a newborn,
preggers or a newborn. Yeah.
And we were swimming around in the pool part, and Allison was staying in the jacuzzi part because she was really little and didn't know how to swim yet. And then you and I are like, ooh, we turn around, and all we see is the top of her head.
Why am I laughing? She survived. That's why.
She lived. And I'm like, Allison, she went off the step. And we had to save her.
Oh my God. Mom!
I don't know why we're laughing. It's not funny.
It's not funny. It wouldn't have, this could have been a very different story, but we're laughing not because she almost drowned, just because it's like, who does that?
That's why I'm laughing. It's incredulous that children under 10 are left to their own devices in a pool
at 10 o'clock at night
for hours. I don't know.
They're fine.
They're like, hey, we got him swim lessons once.
I do remember when Mom got us swim lessons.
Once.
I wonder why she did it.
So that we wouldn't drown.
Right.
She's like, well, if they know how to save themselves, then they can be unsupervised.
Well, that's how we learned Dead Man's Float.
All of them.
And all of those things that we
would play
later.
When we would play Jaws in the pool.
You did.
Mom, you hated it.
Because it was terrifying.
It was scary.
Okay, by the way, now that you're talking about it, I was 6.
I know.
So, duh.
One time
I was scared.
I did almost kill myself once in the pool.
Oh.
I was getting cocky. Surprise, surprise.
Jamie?
And I dove headfirst into the shallow end.
I do remember that. You banged your head.
My whole face.
Yeah.
I can still remember how badly I hurt myself.
It hurts.
And you know what I shook it off. No one took me to the doctor.
I don't even think we went inside.
We didn't even go inside. I had a fat lip.
Yeah, I remember.
That was it. Even though I probably had a concussion.
For sure.
And I could have literally killed myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
People die that
way. Or paralyzed yourself or something.
I could have broken my neck.
Oh my God, Jamie.
So Allison almost died. I almost died.
Yeah, I guess I didn't have any brushes with death that I can think of. Well, other than our parents, when the time that I fed Paula salt water.
Oh, I fed you poisonous leaves once, and I was.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And I almost killed you. They're like, you almost killed your sister
because I had burns on my mouth.
Yeah, you burned yourself because it was poison, and it was probably something very poisonous too, as far as fauna.
It would have had to have been if it
burned
my mouth.
I got in so much trouble.
Well, when I gave Paula salt water to drink in a cup, Dad was like, "They give that to rats when they're trying to kill them." I'm like, I didn't know. It tasted good.
It's salty. It's delicious.
Beat me beyond. I can't even tell you how bad I paid for that.
Do you know?
I was like 6.
Here's something I got.
Tiny.
Here's something I got beaten for. It was the first day of school, and I was ready early, and I had my new Buster Brown shoes and my cute little blue dress. My hair was in braids.
I totally remember this day.
And
you were really cute.
Mom's like, just get away. When it's time to go, we'll go.
Right.
I'm like, all right. So what do? I go outside, and I'm walking along
in the front
rocks.
yard, right?
Nope, backyard.
Oh, you were in the backyard.
Walking along on the rocks of the pool because we had boulders instead. We had a diving rock instead of a diving board.
Right. It was for aesthetic purposes.
And it was really pretty. So we had these little small boulders that lined the diving rock halfway across the pool on the one side. So I'm walking along these rocks and don't get dirty and do not get wet.
Oh my God.
I said, I won't.
So you're on these dirty, mossy rocks next to the pool.
I'm on the mossy rocks because, September is when we actually used to start school long ago.
Right.
And it was actually kind of cool back then.
Right.
It wasn't now how it's 110.
We have global warming.
So I'm
now.
walking, I'm like, do, and I'm playing the Winnie the Pooh, doing the little one at a time fucking thing. And I fall in the pool.
Of course you did.
And
I knew it.
I was so terrified of getting my shoes wet because they were brand new leather Buster Browns that I remember vividly sticking my feet straight up out of the water and hoping, and I'm completely submerged.
Right? Trying to keep your feet out of the water.
Yes. And then I hooked my feet onto my shoes onto the boulders. And then I literally
took them off.
Floated.
Walked?
No, I walked myself as I'm swimming in the pool to get to a step so I could get out so that I wouldn't get my shoes wet. God. Of course I got my shoes wet. There's no way to get out of a pool.
Well, I mean, seriously, without your feet.
Yeah. And of course, I don't remember anything after that.
Well, who delivered the punishment? Mother?
I have no idea.
I just know I survived.
I remember nothing after that. I don't even remember how I got out.
Which is really weird for you because you remember everything.
I don't remember how I got out
even
of the
pool.
Even
the bad stuff you remember.
Nothing. And I'm like, well, and of course, this is back in the day when children were beaten regularly for anything.
Yeah.
And when I say beaten, I mean spanked or whatever.
Yeah.
Some beatings beyond
Yeah. Well,
but
I mean, our parents say they were hard on us.
They were very, very hard on us. Anyway, I was thinking about that. And then about that time that our dad, this was about when our parents were not together anymore, where Dad had a truck. And do you know how many times that we got to lay in the back of a truck on the freeway?
Oh, God. Yes.
All the time.
All the time.
And we could sit up and go, woohoo! It was a ride.
God. Jesus, Lord. I think it gives me anxiety.
Stephanie, that's what
to this day to think about young. I mean, why are we alive? Why are we here?
No seatbelts. No nothing.
60 miles an hour on the freeway with a little, we were little.
Little kids.
When our parents got divorced, I was 8.
I know.
So it was prior to that.
I know. We were so young. What about the time that Dad had an M80 and he's like, hey guys, watch this. And he put the M80 in a dumpster and he closed it and the thing bubbled out.
Oh my God. It was so loud.
Do you have any idea if
nobody called the police?
No one called the police. Not only that, but there was no guarantee that thing wasn't going to push shrapnel
and go all over his kids.
Everyone.
This is also a man who let me test drive a customer's car. Who brought their car to my dad's shop for repair, and he's like, drive this around the parking lot and see if it works. I was like 9.
I do remember that.
I couldn't even see over the steering wheel.
It was obviously someone he did not like.
He didn't fucking care.
He didn't care. And then the one time, he had a motorcycle for about a minute.
Oh God.
And he's like, hey.
You got it.
And I cannot believe that our mother let me get on that motorcycle.
I don't think she had a lot of choice in certain things, but
no helmet. I was wearing shorts.
You were wearing shorts. It was summer. No shoes.
I had shoes on.
Oh, you did have shoes on?
I had tennis shoes on. That was it. He's like, okay, put your feet on this pedal. Well, you know what? There were two sets. And so I did it on the first one. and immediately burned the inside of my leg.
On the exhaust.
On the exhaust. And it was
huge.
The most...
3rd degree.
It was easily a 3rd degree burn.
It bubbled.
And not only that, I still have the scar.
So do I.
But
not from that.
Oh, from the...
I got it on a motorcycle too.
Oh, God.
But I was an adult at least.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank God. But I just remember I was holding Dad, and I'm like, I was like a 9. And I remember going,
tiny.
If I die, this is how I die.
Right.
I really believed that I was going to die.
You're like,
and
that
it was
surviving this.
And that it was going to be painful. I was terrified.
Oh my God, you poor thing.
Terrified. And the irony of it is I was dating my first real boyfriend when I was like 17, 18, and he had a motorcycle, and Dad basically threatened his life and said, do not put her on that motorcycle. I will literally kill you.
Because of what happened?
No.
Oh, just because he wanted to be in control?
I don't know. Or he just realized that motorcycles were dangerous.
At that point?
I don't know.
Well, okay, Dad.
But in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's hilarious because...
Yeah, God.
And then, of course, it was my fault that I got burned right.
Of course.
It was 100% my fault.
Well, there's just so many things that
Nothing was anybody's fault but the kids.
No.
Ever.
It was always our fault for being dumb.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And then, now that I'm an adult and I hear everybody else my age talk about these same kinds of stories,
I know, huh?
I'm like, okay, so we were all being told we were dumb and it's your fault that you got hurt or funny? Whatever.
It's different.
So funny.
For them, for our parents, they were also exploring a new way of life.
Yes.
Because when they were young, families took care of families. Your parents and your parents' parents were there. Your grandparents helped raise you. Your aunts and uncles helped raise you. Mm-hmm. You were always with your cousins and your nieces and nephews, and everything was always there. So your parents could have freedom because there was always somebody else in the family that could take care of you.
People lived together.
If you were gone,
yes,
right?
It's true.
So when our parents were raising children, that was done.
Nobody
did that. It was like,
anymore.
I'm not raising your fucking kids, and I don't want to live with you anymore. You know, it's like we all had separate households now.
Yes.
And the only way they could get freedom was to take their kids everywhere they went.
It's true.
So how many situations were we in where our parents were getting, and I speak, when I say parents, I mean our dad, for the most part, was getting shit-faced drunk or stoned or using drugs or whatever the case may be in some adult setting.
I know.
And it was like midnight.
And we're there.
And we were all there.
Sleeping on a chair.
In an RV, in the backseat of a car.
And you know what? Totally. If you talk to anybody else, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I did that all the time."
Did anybody else sneak their 18-month-old sister in a duffel bag?
Yes,
so you could get in the pits.
Absolutely.
At a race,
probably. Where we all hid in the RV.
God, yes,
all the time, all kinds of stuff. But this is why Gen X is so unique.
I know, because
when the second that I had a child, I said, what were my parents thinking?
Well, we've talked about the stupid shit we've done.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, just as far as parenting, how different it is now.
Totally.
Because they were raised by even bigger monsters.
Right.
Which is why boomers were the way they were.
Absolutely.
And then they're like, oh, no, when I was your age, I was working. I mean, like actually working.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and everything was closeted back then. Even at least when at our age, it was still closeted, but it was like at least our parents knew, like, okay, you're not going to Chester the molester's house this weekend. Like, we are not going there. Like back in the day,
it's true.
They would just pretend like he wasn't really doing it.
Yeah, or they'd be like, oh, he's just unusual. It's fine.
He's different, but they wouldn't protect you from it either.
They didn't protect.
But our parents were like,
our parents
no,
did. You're right.
We're not doing that again.
That is true. That is the one thing is that they started going, yo, we're going to go to so-and-so's house. Stay away from Uncle so-and-so.
Yes, thank you.
Just don't. If he asks to show you his cat, don't do it.
Right.
Stay with me.
Don't go in the trailer that's parked in the backyard.
Yeah. Just stay with us.
Yeah. Exactly.
Never.
While we're smoking 60,000 cigarettes and playing penny poker. That's safe.
It's
drinking
true.
Vodka rocks.
Woohoo. Yes. So I find when I think about some of the stuff that we survived somehow, or just like we used to beg our mom to let us stay in the car so she could go grocery shopping.
You wouldn't do that now. No,
oh my God.
No. Well, now you would have the police and every other person in the parking lot smashing the windows open to save you.
Help them. And it's like, I'm fine. I'm just reading my book. And they're like, no, you're 6. You don't belong in here by yourself.
I know though, right?
I mean, but
these days, we've
learned that those things are incredibly dangerous.
Well, I mean, as a society, people, there's always been evil, bad people who wanted to hurt people in the world, but now it's like fucking everywhere, like everybody.
Yes.
So, I mean, I do think we were safer.
Although I will say this. I think the era of the serial killer has come and gone.
I don't know.
Because, well, the kind that were terrifying people in the 80s and 70s, those are gone because we have social media, we have DNA,
technology. Yeah, everybody has a fucking camera or an alarm system.
You can't get away with truck driver serial killing anymore.
Nobody hitchhikes anymore unless you're just a moron.
Well, then that's just thinning of the herd.
Well, right?
But yes,
yeah,
I agree.
If you hitchhike, then you're basically playing Russian roulette with your life.
I know. Okay, so speaking of generational trauma. Do you have an awkward moment, by the way?
No.
Okay, that's fine. I have one. I'll tell it to you.
I mean, I do, but nothing that I can recall off the top of my head.
But really quick before I do my awkward moment, have you noticed that orca whales are literally waging war against humans?
I have noticed.
And I love it.
I love it too.
I am team orca.
I am so disgusted with the animal. We always have been.
Oh yeah, we hate it.
For the longest time, I've been like, when will this ever end? I cannot watch, of all the TikTok videos of the dodos and everything that I watch, one of the things I cannot watch is the orcas in captivity or any giant creature in captivity.
They don't belong.
I can't do the elephants.
No,
all that stuff. In other countries where they still, I cannot.
It's horrible. No, so I had noticed this about a month or so ago, and I tweeted about it. And of course, I don't get a lot of traction because I'm not famous. But I'm like, yo, orcas are waging war on humans, and I'm living for it.
Yeah,
because this giant pod of orcas are attacking boats
off the coast of Monterey.
I don't know if it was up in Washington, where they were primarily getting it, and they're just like,
I think they're migrating right now in the Pacific Ocean.
So Daryl was like, this is so weird now because now people are starting to talk about these orcas and whatever, and the adult orcas are teaching the young orcas how to attack boats, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know what happened, but someone in that pod is pissed,
right?
And they're attacking boats for a reason, and I don't know, because they're very smart.
They just identified them as an enemy now.
So
a danger.
Daryl found the story. Because, pods are studied because they're so elevated. They're such an elevated creature.
That's true.
They're
mammals.
And they're very smart.
They are very smart. And they stay together. They're like families.
They're families.
They always stay together.
Right. So the matriarch of this pod is White Gladys.
Okay.
Gladys was apparently injured by a boat a while ago, like a year or two ago, or however long. And so she hates boats, but specifically she was injured by a propeller. So she's been going around ripping propellers off of boats.
Oh my goodness.
She's had enough. Gladys is pissed. And now the pod's like, you know what? We got you.
Yeah, we're all going to rip off propellers.
So now they're teaching the babies to rip off propellers.
Oh my God.
And they are not going to stop.
I love it.
And now they were talking about, there's a pod of orcas in Monterey. And I went, they're looking for boats.
Yeah.
I know it. They're looking for boats. And God willing, they don't recruit whales.
Well, whales are peaceful creatures.
Orcas are peaceful too. They don't attack humans.
I mean, they don't. They can, but you're right. They don't. But they're very predatory in the wild.
Well, yes, and they
kill things.
And they're furious. They've had enough of humans.
They are the Betty Broderick of those.
They are
ocean species.
They are done with propellers.
They're done.
And I think it's, first of all, adorable.
I love it.
Also,
well, you and I are always champions of.
I want animals to win.
Me too.
I know they would eat me, but But
we're not going to be out there.
Never.
This is why we don't do things like this.
No,
we know better.
I cheer from TikTok. Go Orcas! I'm never going out into the water. Although I told
you will take a cruise with me one day.
I will do the Alaskan cruise.
Why the Alaskan? Because the nature that you would see.
I want to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
And I also want to see, and I want to go kind of wintry. I want to see when it's cold.
It's the only place in this world that I think that you can go to where you're not completely isolated, like you're not in freaking Iceland.
No, although I would go to Iceland.
I would too, but it's just so goddamn far away.
It is, but it's beautiful.
But we, as people living in North America, can go there, and it's not that far. We can get there on a plane ride. And I could not go to a place like that and be like at a hotel because I'd be freezing 90% of the time.
Accurate.
At least if on a ship, I'm like, I can be inside and be warm and fed and champagne.
I will say
all of that. And then I can go out when I want to go out.
We'll talk about this later. However, I will say I did find a luxury cruise line that I think I could do.
Okay. They just have to be ginormous.
Thomas Keller has a restaurant on it.
Oh, perfect.
So it's like, I think Stephanie would want to do this one.
Absolutely.
I mean, we'd have to save for it, but it'd be worth it.
Yeah, the only one I would never do, I mean, and you'd have to give it to me for free, and it would have to be the Penthouse would be a Carnival cruise. I could not do that.
Oh, God.
I can't.
The toilet of the sea.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm really happy for the orcas. I know.
Me too.
I hope they win a little bit of attraction.
Well, I hope, the only thing, when animals start doing stuff like this, one of the things I hate is, like, for instance, the guy in, I think it was Africa the other day, got killed by a shark.
Oh, that was in Egypt.
Okay, Egypt, thank you.
Dude.
And what did they do?
They killed the shark.
They hunted the fucking shark down and killed it.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. I'm like, why?
It was like a 16-footer.
He was doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, but...
It's terrible, but the guy was in the ocean, and that's where he lives.
And you know what was really terrible about that whole thing? I mean, I don't know how much you read about that story.
Not the whole thing.
Okay, so the kid was 23.
Yeah.
His dad and girlfriend were on the shoreline, and they saw the entire thing. He was only 20 feet from the shore.
It's awful.
That shark came in so close, and they said it was a tiger shark. Yeah. And they said what was weird about it is tiger sharks are very aggressive and they won't stop. Great whites will always stop if it's a human. They'll bite you and go, ooh, I don't like it.
Yeah,
and
they don't like
leave.
the taste. Yeah.
The problem is you'll bleed out because they're so big.
Because one bite is enough.
Yeah, because it'll literally make you bleed out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But tiger sharks and bull sharks are very, like, they say they have, like, basically shark testosterone.
Yeah.
And they won't stop.
No.
And they'll
just kill you.
They're like vendettas or something. They're very strange.
Well, they're just very aggressive.
They're very aggressive sharks.
And they're predators.
The shark came in, bit his arms off immediately. And then...
So then he can't swim.
Right. And he's bleeding out, obviously.
Yeah.
And then at some point, he topples over and the shark grabs him by the head. And the video, I saw the video.
Oh, damn. I didn't even know
is his legs... Like, I've never seen legs twist like that in my life.
Oh, because he was just doing the whole...
He twisted in the air. His legs were in the air and twisted.
Well, they frenzy.
Yeah, I mean...
Sharks like frenzy and they're like, and they rip you all around like a rag doll.
The reason that people say... Because it was the most graphic filming. There's no blood. You don't see any real blood.
Right.
Is that before he toppled underwater, he was screaming for his father.
Oh, fuck.
It was absolutely gut-wrenching. And, his girlfriend was there, but I mean, the father thing is worse.
The father thing is the worst.
And the shark left nothing. He ate the entire person. And that's why they killed him.
Well, I mean...
They killed him to get the remains.
Okay.
But I do agree.
I just don't think it's the shark's fault.
He didn't do anything like shark's gonna shark,
Yeah, I mean, and why do they always feel like they need to punish the shark?
Because
it's an animal.
Because humans are human.
And I mean, like, okay, does everybody feel better now? The guy's dead and so is the shark. Yay. Are we all happy?
It's awful. The whole thing is awful.
And by the way, if the shark was that big, then that means he was strong and he was obviously, those sharks live a long time.
They can.
They can live 20, 30 years. So if somebody comes and wipes him out because he ate one guy, I mean, come on.
Tragedy!
I'm telling you.
Tragedy!
Is it tragedy?
I don't know. Isn't that the Bee Gees song?
It's a Bee Gees song, but I don't know if it's tragedy.
It is tragedy. Please don't tell me I've been singing it wrong for 100 years.
No.
Oh, I swear I thought it was tragedy.
I don't know. All
right, while you're looking, I'm going to tell you my awkward moment.
Yes, please do.
And then tell me if it's tragedy. God, if it's not, I'll be so embarrassed.
Again, really? You're gonna be embarrassed?
Yeah.
I mean, we're always wrong on this show.
I know.
We make up our own things and we're like, yeah, I think that's his name was.
In fact, I'll literally...
Travis or Trevor or something.
Also, I mean, I don't know if it was in Egypt where this person was killed by the shark anyway. I mean, maybe.
People are listening right now and goes, it wasn't Egypt, you idiots. It was Australia. I was like, all right, whatever. Australia, Egypt, I know, it's all the same.
Potato. Anyway, so this happened a while ago and you saw actually the proof. And so that's why I wanted to tell you the story. Daryl's daughter was coming, and so he had to do some travel, and so I was doing everything, and I was getting ready to get into my car to go to the store, and I hadn't washed my hair that day, so I was wearing my Raiders hat, and I had my big fat bug sunglasses on, and I miscalculated, and I whacked the hat on top of the car, but my big sunglasses pushed into my face, and it did hurt, but I didn't think anything of it, right?
Right.
Next day, I'm taking off my makeup and I'm like, I don't remember wearing purple eyeshadow. That's weird. So I take off all my makeup and I look, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm watching it bruise in real time. And I'm like, I gave myself a black eye and I couldn't remember how. I don't remember what I did.
Very common.
So I got anxiety thinking that I had like cancer or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, I'm like, right. Oh my God, am I bruising spontaneously? Like, do I have cancer? I was so afraid.
Have I had any wounds that haven't healed lately?
I was starting.
I do it all the time.
I was looking and I'm like, well, I have been kind of itchy. Maybe that's what it is.
I didn't know that was a symptom.
I don't know. And so I've heard of that. And so I'm like, I don't know. And so I'm thinking I'm pulling all of this intel that I can think of that I might be ill, like gravely ill. And I'm like, I can't remember. I don't know. Oh my God. And it's like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, okay, just calm down.
I just have a spontaneous black eye.
Just calm down. We don't know why.
I'm dead.
You know, and then finally
one day I'm going to look back on this 6 months from now and be like, that's when it all started.
That's when I should have known. And then I
thought it was this benign black eye, but look at me now.
I'm like,
on death's door.
I'm like, I did hit my hat. My hat hit my glasses and pushed my glasses into my face yesterday, but I do remember kind of shaking it off, but I guess I didn't really think anything of it. Mm-hmm. That must have been it. And it was. And then the following day, I got a little baby black eye on the other eye.
Yes.
I had both.
Oh my God.
So I knew it was the glasses that did it.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Well, we bruise so easily.
It was so embarrassing. I've never had a black eye in my life.
Oh, no?
Never.
Well, we talked about my black eye last time.
Yes, we did.
Me floating around in the pool.
Oh, no, we didn't talk about it.
I thought we did talk about this.
We talked about it at the party.
Oh, we didn't talk about, oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't scuba diving. We mentioned that on the last show last week. I did the scuba diving thing and I was really into it at one point. So I took the regular class that you pass just to go do your open water. Mm-hmm. And then later on I took the advanced and then I took another, it's called nitrox. And there's all these different things that you can basically continue to elevate your education as a scuba diver. Yeah. Well, there was another class I took. It was called your dry suit class. And it's essentially because we live in California and our water's so fucking cold here. Yeah. You cannot just go diving in, wetsuits. People do. But I think they're insane.
That is insane.
It's just not adequate protection if you are me.
No.
So you're freezing to death. So there's a thing called a dry suit. And it's essentially a neoprene suit that you get inside. It's fleece lined. Ooh. It covers your feet go in it.
Is this for cold water?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Your feet go in it. Your hands go in it. You have gloves. I mean, you're literally from the neck down. Mm-hmm. I mean, it even has a hood. I'm not even neck down. You are completely encapsulated and the water is not on your skin. You're not wet.
That's awesome.
Okay. So, and it fills with, it attaches to your air tank and you fill it up with a little bit of air. The thing you have to learn about it and the reason why you take a class is because when you're a scuba diver, you wear this thing called the BC, which is like a vest, and that's what attaches to your air, and you fill it up. You use it for buoyancy. So when you're at the surface, you can fill it up and you float.
Okay,
and then you let the air out as you're descending. Right, correct. So when you must wear this at all times.
Sure.
And when you're doing the dry suit thing, it's another layer of buoyancy because it also fills up with very slightly with air to keep
that makes sense.
Because as you descend down into water,
yes,
the atmosphere is squeezed.
Right.
So it starts to cling to you. So you need to have a little, you need to like burst a little bit of air in there to keep it away from your body.
Makes sense.
But you don't want to turn into a giant balloon either, right? No. So you have to learn the balance and how to control all of that, blah, blah, blah. So I'm doing this and I'm in a ginormous Olympic sized pool. It's deeper than the normal pool. I think if they're 12 or 15 feet deep, they're deep.
Yeah.
And, I'm feeling myself. I'm like, this is fun. I'm doing cartwheels and I'm doing somersaults. Yes. And you do have all your dive gear on, including your mask, fins, and snorkel. So I had my snorkel on and my mask thing. Well, this pool is deep enough that when you go to the bottom all the way, you will feel the pressure. You know how when you hold your breath and you have to like clear your, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's that. But because I'm so comfortable with all this apparatus on me, I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm 15 feet down and that I've been down there for 30 minutes.
And they're like,
screwing
hey,
around, being a gymnastics person. Yeah.
I love it.
When we got finished, I come up, I take all my stuff off. Everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody's excited. We're having great fun. And I have 2 giant black eyes. Both of my eyes were black.
Oh no.
And so I was like, of course, embarrassed. And everyone's like, oh my God, you know, are you okay? And I'm like, happened? I'm fine. I'm just humiliated. You know, I'm
because there was underwater pressure.
Goddamn idiot.
Too long.
And I went to the grocery store a couple days later. I had to go. It was summertime and I did wear my sunglasses. But at some point I couldn't see something. So I had to take them off for a moment.
And,
and this couple was walking by and the man stops and he looks at me. He's like, you don't have to take this shit. And I was like, I looked at him, I go, it's not what he goes, don't. And she's like, honey, come on, leave her alone. And
my God.
He was livid. He was like, if I had a dude with me right then, he probably would have fucking killed him.
Scuba diving, please.
But who's going to believe that? You know what I mean? It was the craziest thing. And I'm like, this is what I get for being a moron. Ugly and awkward at its finest. No one believed me that I wasn't a battered woman.
Oh, shit.
So
that's awful. Is it tragedy?
Well, I was going to put that as our exit.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Okay,
you are not wrong.
Thank God. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week.
You better just 20 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Remember?
Yeah.